Hey, it don't change. Start fast, finish strong. We concerned about us. Go out and execute. We're not waiting on nobody to get started today.
And for the first time ever, we're filming the BCU Wildcat Football Insider in Lincoln, Nebraska, historic Memorial Stadium, the site for the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats, the first ever MEAC team to play the Nebraska Cornhuskers. So glad you're with us today. I'm Nolan Alexander, your co-host for the BCU Wildcat Football Insider, and which will give you the lowdown on the matchup between the Wildcats and the Huskers with our CatEye Network plays of the game. We'll go through our top 10 plays this season thus far. We'll bring on the new Hall of Famer, the new Wildcat Hall of Famer, Larry Wesley, to get his thoughts on where this setting, this stage, ranks in Bethune-Cookman's illustrious history, the grandest stage in the Big Ten, home to the Wildcats for the first time. And then we'll also get Larry's thoughts looking ahead to the rest of the MEAC season. It's a festive day here in Lincoln, an atmosphere unlike any other. But a game that wasn't originally on the schedule. We knew when it came out, you circled homecoming, but you didn't have this date circled. So how do we end up in Lincoln, Nebraska? Well, the opener for the Cornhuskers, scheduled to be against the Akron Zips, was canceled because of thunderstorms. It was the first time in Nebraska history that a game was canceled because of weather. And the last time a Husker game was canceled prior to that, you've got to go all the way back to 1943 against the Pitt Panthers when wartime travel restrictions ended that contest. So here we are, a monumental game, a rare in-season scheduled game between the Huskers and the Wildcats. Again, BCU, the first ever MEAC school to play here in Lincoln, Nebraska. This is going to be the largest attended game in Wildcat history, expected to be about 90,000. It's an NCAA record 366th consecutive sellout today to see the Huskers play the Wildcats. So let's go on ahead without further ado and take a look at our top plays of the game. It's BCU and Nebraska. Here are the CatEye Network highlights. Washington, the tailback, the shotgun snap. Israel throws, open man, caught by Francois, the 45, gets the Husker 40, far side of the 30-yard line. Francois, the 20, and he goes out of bounds just inside the 10-yard line. A huge pickup by David Israel, and the first catch of the day for 81. Stephon Francois, first and goal Wildcats. The field, the snap to hold, Uriel's kick is good, and Bethune-Cookman has its first score of this early Saturday afternoon, 8:28 here in the first quarter, and taken out of bounds, big hit, it loses the football, it's coughed up inside the 20-yard line, and then goes back out of bounds. Well, option pitch, Robinson at the 20, bounces out of the 25 for the juke, gets past one tackler, gets at the 30, Robinson goes out of bounds right near the front. The shotgun snap, another option, pitch out to Robinson. Cuts up at the 40, at the 45, and down to the 49-yard line. Another 9-yard pickup on the receivers to the right, and winds down the formation for Israel. Robinson's tailback, the shotgun snap, throws in a screen, it's caught left side by Robinson in the room. At the 45, the 40, cuts up to the 35, at the 30, and down inside the 25-yard line. First and 10, Bethune-Cookman. Cats load up the box, the shotgun snap, Martinez steps up, and then he goes down in the backfield. Adrian Martinez sacked on the play by Ty Peters. The shotgun snap, a quick play fake. Martinez steps up, now scampers out to the right side, and he's sacked again in the backfield. Brought down to the 44 with a shoestring sack by Marquise Hendricks. Cats rush forward. Martinez elevated throw, throws left side, and it's intercepted by BCU at the 30. Cuts out to the 35, runs far side at the 40, spins off of the 40, and the Wildcats pick off Adrian Martinez with guess who? Ty Peters having a career day on defense. They rush four. Israel throws near side, and it's caught at the 35. He's out of bounds with a first down at the 39-yard line. Stephon Francois. Here's the snap, hands off Ismay, sweep left side of the 45, gets a block at the 42, block a first down inside the 35. Marked down to the 32-yard line, longest rush for Tupac. First drive of the second half. On 3rd and 4, the snap, throws, caught at the 18-yard line, left side, a first down and more. Kiva Mitchell takes another defender with him, down to the 10-yard line. Comes to his right shoulder, Nebraska plays the return. A high, short punt to the far side of the field. It lands at the 11, takes a Wildcat roll of the 6, and rolls out of bounds inside the 5. Just what Terry Sims wanted out of his special teams. Uriel drops at a coffin corner punt at the 5. Now Wilson motions to the left. The snap, he throws down the seam. It's caught by Francois at the 25 and the 30. Cuts to the sideline at the 40 and out of bounds just shy of midfield. Halfway through the third quarter, the shotgun snap. Hands off to Ladarian Wilson. Cuts back at the 50. At the 45, middle of the field at the 40. Takes a safety, heads on, and spins down to the 35-yard line. Another 1st and 10 for the Wildcats as he bowled over the safety, Deontay Williams.
That's the big back right there, Ladarian Wilson.
Jones motions that way, pump fake by Bedral, and he's sacked to the 15-yard line. BCU gets its 2nd sack, and Kevin Thompson slings the Huskers signal caller to the turf attack. Blitz coming. Bedral in the pocket, throws a deep pass down the middle, intercepted by the Cats at the 10. To the far side, Don Johnson goes out of bounds to the 18 with his 2nd interception of the season. And his 2nd pick for the Wildcats against the Huskers. The shotgun snap, he rolls out to the right, backside pressure. Jabari Keefe squeezes past the defender at the 40, gets across the 1st down marker, gets a yard more, tough sledding to Dunham. Gives Adams up the middle, across the 50, the 45, spins at the 42. Down the near hash to the 35, Adams at the 30 at the numbers and taken out of bounds at the 25. The snap, Dunham fakes, pump fakes, now throws down the right seam, caught at the 10-yard line. And Rivers breaks a tackle, then swarms at the 7, 1st and goal, Bethune-Cookman. Seconds. 3 seconds, 2. The snap, he gives Adams to the left side of the 5 at the 1, and he's in the end zone. Touchdown, maroon and gold as time expires. Bethune-Cookman scores in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Each team starts their journey on separate roads, but they all converge to one road to the championship. There will be revenge and redemption. There'll be an Aggie and Eagle standoff. There'll be Bulldogs and Bears colliding with Tigers and Spartans, Hornets fighting off Bison, and Wildcats rattling the Rattlers. The road has twists and turns, and when it ends, one thing is certain. Only one team will claim the title, MEAC champion.
This December 15th, the best in HBCU football will meet in Atlanta at the Celebration Bowl. MEAC champion versus SWAC champion. Only one will rise above the rest at Mercedes-Benz Stadium and claim the coveted Celebration Bowl trophy. For more information, visit thecelebrationbowl.com.
The DNA of Bethune-Cookman comes from the heart of a great woman whose legacy lives on today in each and every Wildcat.
I leave you love. I leave you hope.
I leave you a thirst for education.
I leave you faith.
I leave you, finally, a responsibility to our young people.
Great leaders always leave something for others to follow.
What will you leave us?
Welcome back into the BCU Wildcat Football Insider. I'm your co-host for today, Nolan Alexander, here from Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, Nebraska, in which the Wildcats played in front of the biggest crowd in program history, almost 90,000 to see the game this past Saturday. Well, we sit with just 3 games to go in the regular season, all against MEAC foes, and that gives us a great time to look back at some of the best plays this season, because this 2018 campaign has been chock full of highlight plays for the Wildcats. And let's start out with number 10. We'll go to the home opener against the Dragons of Virginia University of Lynchburg. BCU put up 79 points, second most in program history. And number 10 starts out with Malik Jackson on the receiving end of an absolute bomb from David Israel. Coming in at number 9, we venture to another big stage, the Circle City Classic in Indianapolis, when the Wildcats play the Howard Bison. Late in the ball game, the BCU defense needed to stop, and none other than the middle linebacker Devin James forced a fumble, and Kennedy Ndukwe nearly took it back to the house. Up next, we go back to the home opener against the Dragons of Virginia University of Lynchburg. On that day, sophomore running back Quayshawn Bird rushed for a score, caught a pass for a score, and took a kickoff back for a touchdown. And play number 8 is that kickoff back to the house for Bird. Touchdown, maroon and gold. Coming up next on the list, Trevor Merritt has been a ball hawk this season. He has 2 pick sixes, and we go to Orangeburg, South Carolina, with the Wildcats up 3-0, and Trevor Merritt muscles one away and takes it back for his 2nd straight pick six, a feat that hasn't been accomplished in Bethune-Cookman history until that Saturday in Orangeburg. Up next, we'll keep it in Orangeburg, South Carolina. Akevius Williams dazzled the Bulldog and Wildcat fans with 2 touchdown runs in the first half, and his first one from 31 yards out made Bulldogs miss left and right as he scampered in to increase the Wildcat lead. Here's to Akevius. Williams from 31 yards out makes it 18-6, 11:33. We've already mentioned Trevor Merritt once. Let's go back to Trevor Merritt with his first pick six of the season and a big homecoming win against Mississippi Valley State. By the Cats, BCU runs to the near side, cutting out the 30, the 25, the 20, takes the 15, the 10, the 5, a pick six. Bethune-Cookman. Trevor Merritt takes to the house. Oh, that young man from the air. 4th downs are always a key play in any football game, and at Savannah State, Bethune-Cookman opened the second quarter facing a 4th and 5. Instead of trying to go for 6 yards, the Wildcats took it all on a 25-yard touchdown pass from Akevius Williams to his favorite target, the senior wideout, Kevon Mitchell. Snap to Williams. Tigers bring a blitz. He throws a deep pass for the left end zone for Mitchell, and it's caught in the back of the end zone. Did he stay in? Touchdown! We've been to Orangeburg already. Let's go back to Orangeburg with the Wildcats just giving up their first touchdown of the day. BCU had its 3rd blocked kick of the season. The middle linebacker, Devin James, ran through the middle. And then guess who? Kennedy Ndukwe picks it up and takes it back for the 2-point conversion as we wind down the best plays of the season thus far. Kennedy Ndukwe is going to get some more airtime as we move on to number 2, our 2nd best play of the 2018 campaign. In Boca Raton to play the Florida Atlantic Owls, Kennedy Ndukwe didn't need 2 hands. All he needed was 1 and nearly did it behind the back with this interception that set up a BCU touchdown. Our 2nd best play of the year, Kennedy Ndukwe with a 1-handed interception. I'll admit, we're going to cheat a little bit on our top play of the 2018 season. It's not just 1 play. We're going to have to go with 2. Jimmy Robinson in the Circle City Classic in Indianapolis made history as the only player in the FCS to take not 1, but 2 kickoffs back to the house. And he did it in the first half on consecutive returns of 94 and 99 yards. It's Jimmy Robinson taking it in back-to-back, our top play of the 2018 season thus far.
Each team starts their journey on separate roads, but they all converge to one road to the championship. There will be revenge and redemption. There'll be an Aggie and Eagle standoff. There'll be Bulldogs and Bears colliding with Tigers and Spartans. Hornets fighting off Bison and Wildcats rattling the Rattlers. The road has twists and turns, and when it ends, one thing is certain. Only one team will claim the title, MEAC champion.
This December 15th, the best in HBCU football will meet in Atlanta at the Celebration Bowl. MEAC champion versus SWAC champion. Only Only one will rise above the rest at Mercedes-Benz Stadium and claim the coveted Celebration Bowl trophy. For more information, visit thecelebrationbowl.com.
The DNA of Bethune-Cookman comes from the heart of a great woman whose legacy lives on today in each and every Wildcat.
I leave you love. I leave you hope.
I leave you a thirst for education.
I leave you faith.
I leave you, finally, a responsibility to our young people.
Great leaders always leave something for others to follow.
What will you leave us?
And welcome back to the BCU Wildcat Football Insider here from Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, Nebraska. Nolan Alexander joined by our new Hall of Famer, Larry Wesley. Wes, we're here in a unique stage. This is the first time a MEAC school has ever played in Lincoln against the Huskers. You've seen so many huge stages for this Wildcat football program, Bethune-Cookman in general. Where does this fit in the midst of Wildcat history?
Well, this has to be at the pinnacle, Nolan. This is not football heaven. I don't know what really is. We've played in venues like Yankee Stadium, the venerable old Orange Bowl down in Miami, the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville, but nothing quite matches what we've seen here for the first half, especially. Just the sheer massive humanity here, the tradition, the pride, the intelligence of the Nebraska Cornhusker followers. And so it ranks extremely high. I don't know how you put it any higher than that, because no one else has actually done this from our level. And so it's absolutely a great honor to be here along with you, and also a challenge for this football team to play on such a fine stage with a Big Ten opponent.
That game in Yankee Stadium, when was that?
1976, Bethune-Cookman was invited to play in the Whitney M. Young Classic. And Lynn Thompson, our athletic director, actually played in that football game, was a quarterback and a punter. We played Norfolk State that day. It was an incredible football game. A crowd of people had gathered because they were not used to HBCU football in Yankee Stadium. Norfolk State won the game 23-15, but the football game, the bands, it just sort of captivated the moment in that venerable stadium that Babe Ruth built. But for that day, it was for football.
This is the BCU Wildcat Football Insider. Glad you're joining us here on this Thursday evening. Nolan Alexander joined by our analyst, Larry Wesley, here from Nebraska's Memorial Stadium inside Lincoln, Nebraska. We saw this crowd and this atmosphere. How do you think the football team handled this loud atmosphere today?
I really, watching our kids, we came through the locker room. I thought the moment was not too big for them. We talked about a lot of things this morning at breakfast. But when we sat here, I don't know about you, I got goosebumps just to see the crowd come in. But that entrance by the Cornhuskers, and we talked about the mascot, Little Red, and how they got the crowd involved. I was watching Lynn Thompson, who's like a showman. I know he was. I could feel his brain ticking to watch how all of this was orchestrated, and just to be here to see it firsthand. We've seen this on TV, Nolan. We are in Memorial Stadium, the most iconic figure of football stadiums other than Notre Dame and Touchdown Jesus. I can't think of anywhere else I would want to be in America. So I thought the kids handled it really, really well. We've settled down now. We're playing football. We're behind at halftime. But again, I think the kids will continue to remember this moment as they finish out this football game.
How do they take this moment and this atmosphere and use it to their advantage moving ahead with the last 3 games left in the regular season, including one more big-time atmosphere at Camping World Stadium for the Florida Blue Florida Classic? Go ahead and snag those tickets if you haven't already.
Well, what I really think will happen is they will know now what it feels like to play before this type of crowd. You don't see much of this all the time. And I think by handling the noise, by handling all of the, as I said, the pomp and pageantry, I think it would allow them. Next week we go to Baltimore. It'll be a big difference from where we are today. But these kids won't forget that for one moment. And again, I guess they'll get a part of it when they get back to Camping World Stadium for the Classic between the Rattlers and the Wildcats. But this, as you said earlier, the runs will be 5 yards to 8 yards today. 10 years from now, there'll be 20 yards, et cetera, right on down the line. That's just the way that it is. And how many people can say that they played in this iconic, venerable stadium? Not many, and not many. My partner have broadcast alongside you and I, as we have today, to be in this particular environment. Special time.
Coming up next, we'll talk about the rest of the Wildcats schedule in 2018. Keep it locked to the BCU Wildcat Football Insider. And welcome back into the BCU Wildcat Football Insider. Nolan Alexander joined by Larry Wesley, our analyst. Bethune-Cookman fell this week 45-9 to the Nebraska Cornhuskers in a game, Larry, that we saw some good things for the Wildcats. We talked on air during our broadcast that maybe the scoreboard wasn't indicative as to how this game was played.
Not the effort, not at all, because the Wildcats did display a lot of effort. They played well in spurts. They were up against a formidable opponent. We knew that. And to see our kids give that kind of effort, it gives you building blocks. You're looking for those kinds of things. We got a lot of contribution from a lot of people who stepped up, many on short notice, Nolan, and they played very, very well. They did not seem like the moment was too big for them. They handled themselves really, really well. I think, as was apparent when they walked off the field and got a really good hand of applause from the Nebraska fans. So I think that means a lot to the kids. It means a lot to Terry Sims and the program. And like I said, you always want to get better. Each week is an opportunity to get better. And I think we saw that today. So, with the games we have left, we'll try to make that happen in each game. Getting better, progression after progression. Certainly it leads up to the Florida Classic. That's the game everybody has a zero around, cats and snakes. So we'll see. That's a few weeks away. Let's take it one game at a time. But you have to be pleased with the effort that you saw out there today.
And it was capped off with a score at the end of regulation, right as the clock expired. Alfred Adams, a program player for the Wildcats who has paid his dues years in and years out, comes up with a score, the first score of his career, right as time expires. A moment he'll remember for the rest of his life.
For the rest of his life. We talked about that, and he had a beautiful 30-yard run to set us up, to get us down there and put us in scoring position. Only fitting that he should have the honors to take it in. Ironically, Nolan, as we were watching him go into the end zone, wondering if we get the playoff, it's the same end zone that Malik had a touchdown in earlier. That we thought you had made the call. That I thought he had it too. And the last moment, the defender jarred it loose. But so happy for Alfred for all that he's done. And he's one of those guys that's done it the right way. And it's an inspiration for other walk-ons to work hard to see what can happen if you give that kind of effort. He'll be a better person in life also, I can promise you, for what we saw here today.
And so the Wildcats look ahead. This Saturday, it's a 4 o'clock kickoff in Baltimore against the Bears of Morgan State as Bethune-Cookman goes back into MEAC play. Going to Baltimore, you've called games there. That's not an easy place to go to and get a road win.
No, it really isn't. It's a tough environment to play in. Hopefully we get good weather. It's a wonderful scenery for football, a great venue. Their student support or fan support is not what you would think it would be. But it'll be another stiff challenge. We know that Morgan is playing football really well. They knocked off A&T. They played Howard last week to a ball game that was not defined until the final 2 minutes of the game, and they get a Florida A&M team in Tallahassee tonight. So they'll be ready for us, and we'll have to be ready for them as well. We've had more of a dominating performance against them in the past few years, but for some reason they have an interim coach who's coaching for his job, and you know how players are, like that, and his kids are going through the wall for him, so it will not be an easy day for the Wildcats when we go up to Baltimore Hughes Stadium. It's a venerable old stadium that has a lot of football history, as Morgan State is one of the iconic historical black football colleges as far as football is concerned, with great coaches. So it'll be great to be in that environment. We're leaving an iconic stadium today, and we're going to another one next week in Baltimore. Just look forward to having a great day to bring this action back to the Wildcats.
Just 3 games remain in Bethune-Cookman's regular season. It starts next Saturday. Again, 4 o'clock kickoff against the Morgan State Bears. Larry, in your mind, for Bethune-Cookman to finish the season on a positive note, for you to say the second half of the season was successful, what would that mean for this Wildcat football team over the last 3 games?
Well, I really believe we have a shot in every one of these games. Quite naturally, we have a lot of injuries we're trying to overcome, but so does other people. But I think the fact that I don't see a team that's given up.
No.
I see a team that has some good senior leadership. They're playing hard for their coach, Terry Sims. He's a player's coach. And so there's nothing to lead me to believe that with the kind of effort that I saw today, that we could not easily win all 3 of those football games. In fact, I expect that to happen. So, I don't want fans to sour. They're kind of, sometimes fans are fair weather fans. Folks, there's a lot of football left to be played, and these kids have not quit, and we don't need to quit on them. We need to back them in the true spirit of Wildcat pride, and I think that's what will happen.
And we saw that last year. Ended the season on a 4-game winning streak after falling to A&T.
Absolutely.
We'll see if the Cats can close it out on a 3-game winning streak. We thank you for joining today on the BCU Wildcat Football Insider. We hope you enjoy this special edition of the show filmed here in Lincoln, Nebraska. On behalf of Darian McCaskill, Marvin Thompson, our entire CatEye Network production crew, my partner Larry Wesley, I'm Nolan Alexander. We look forward to hearing from you this Saturday, a 4 o'clock kickoff, the Wildcats and the Bears. This has been the BCU Wildcat Football Insider.